So I went out and got me a job at Swenson's Ice Cream. For those of you who have listened to me talk over the last 25 years, that was my first big boy job. Sweeping floors at Swenson's Ice Cream. Started off one Saturday, got hired, worked 10 hours that day. My dad called me at the end of the day, "Where you been, son?" "Dad, I got me a job. I'm sweeping floors at Swenson's Ice Cream." "Come on downstairs, son. Let me show you the best way to sweep a floor." Everything's a system. There's a lot of ways to do it. There's always a better way. There's always a best way. 2 weeks into it, Swenson said, "You're a very diligent young man. I want to make you a scooper today." Oh, scooper. "Let me show you how to scoop ice cream." Truth be known, I'd already been practicing. Yep. And eating the evidence, you know. But he had a system for scooping ice cream. When the customer places an order to withdraw the scooper from the scooper well, the water in the well must be running all the time. Gordy, understood? "Yes, sir." Tap it off on a clean cloth replaced every 15 minutes. Approach the product the customer desires. Never press down on ice cream. You're pressing out quality. Scoop around, deliver the product, make the change, wash your hands, and then approach the next customer. That was Swenson's system on scooping ice cream. I'll give you a hint, if he caught you deviating from the system. If he caught you waiting on a customer without washing your hands first, you got fired. Not back to sweeper, you got fired. Stop by your local today, walk in. They don't have dedicated sweepers anymore. They got one kid standing behind the counter. They're sweeping floors. You come walking in. "Can I help you?" No. 10 years ago, I'd have the two kids in the truck. "Who in this truck wants an ice cream cone?" "Yay, Daddy, we love ice cream." 10 years later, "Who in this truck wants an ice cream cone?" "You go in first, Dad, because there's a high probability they're going to piss you off, and we won't be eating here anyhow." Whenever I look at something going bad, I ask, were there systems in place? Were they up to date? Were they being implemented? Systems. Systems. This all leads up to this whole concept of making decisions on high consequence, low probability events, or what I like to call high risk, low frequency. Why is this so critical? Why is this so critical to you in the fire service? This is important stuff. Important stuff. And if you're fading in and fading out of the lecture, fade in here for a second. It works. I'll do it this way. I'll do what I want to do. Here's your fire department. Not to scale. Fire department's got all sorts of different divisions and bureaus and units, and every division, bureau, and unit's a series of separate, distinct... Oh, what the hell? Oh, okay. Screw with the cop, huh? Don't think I ain't got reciprocity with Arizona DPS. You get out of here. Beep, 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 beep. Whoa, there we go. There's your job description. There's the fire department. There's the unit you're in. There's your job description. And every job description is a series of separate and distinct incidents. Things we do. Things we do. And boy, I'm telling you, your job is complex. This ain't making ice cream where there's 10 things to do, or selling commercial real estate where there's 100 things to do, or working in Nordstrom where there's 1,000 things to do. Your job is complex. Hundreds of thousands of different things that we have to be able to do, that you have to be able to do, all with one singular goal. Whatever you're doing, get it done right. Doing things right. If you're driving a truck, do it right. If you're backing a truck up, do it right. If you're fighting a fire, do it right. If you're giving EMS services, do it right. If you're doing a performance evaluation, do it right, do it right, do it right. When we do things right, ladies and gentlemen, and we throw in a little bit of common sense, we got personnel safety, we throw in a little bit of incident documentation, we got the elimination of liability, we throw in a little bit of dignity and respect, we got customer service. Doing things right's the key. And the good news for you is most of what you do ends up going right. Did you ever think about that? Most of what you do, in spite of the extremely complex nature of your job, you end up doing right. My hat's off to you, ladies and gentlemen. In spite of the complex nature of the job, most of what you do right. There's a reason why. Every one of these incidents that you get involved in can be put into one of these 4 boxes. You know, this is important stuff. This is the classic risk frequency analysis. Risk and frequency. By the end of my little talk here today, I want this prominent in your mind. Some things you do in the fire service are what I call high-risk events. Definition: if they don't go right, the consequences in civil court, personal injury, organizational embarrassment are high. Some of what you do are called low-risk events. Definition, if it goes bad, the consequences are low. Some things you do a lot, high frequency. Some things you do rarely, low frequency. The risk frequency analysis. Firefighters get in trouble for two things, folks. Intentional misconduct, that happens, but it's rare. Most of what gets us in trouble, gets you in trouble, are mistakes. Study the consequences. Study the consequences. Mistakes happen. Where do mistakes happen? Very rarely do you end up in trouble on high-frequency events. High-frequency events, things you do all the time, generally don't cause you problems. Why? Because of a wonderful tool known as RPDM, Recognition Prime Decision Making. Recognition Prime Decision Making. And you can read all the books out there that are on neural linguistic programming, and my doctor friends out here in the audience hopefully will be able to back me up on this. But there's all sorts of studies about how do we think things through, and a lot of these were done back in the 50s and 60s, and a lot of these studies involve fire departments. And they came up with this concept of RPDM, Recognition Prime Decision Making. Your brain is this massive hard drive loaded with information, billions of gigabytes of data stored in this massive hard drive, and when you get involved in any incident, the brain scans it, beep, 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 looks for a match in the already existing hard drive, finds the match, and automatically directs behavior based on past behavior that ended up with a successful result. That's RPDM. It works. It works. When mistakes occur, folks, they're over here on the low frequency events. And I'm not worried about these, the low risk, low frequency events, because even if they go bad, the consequences are relatively small. Where I get all worked up, folks, where I get all worked up, and where I want you to be getting worked up, as a mom, as a dad, as a chief, as a firefighter, as a union leader, I don't care who you are. Where I want you getting worked up is right here. High risk, low frequency events. High consequence, low probability events. These are the ones that historically and probability-wise have the highest likelihood of ending up downstream in nasty consequences. High risk, low frequency events. It's how JFK Jr. died. Flying at night in the fog with 170 hours of flight time, high risk, low frequency. It's how Boulder PD screwed up the JonBenet Ramsey case. Bad cops? Hell no, those are good cops up there. They got involved in an incident called a child homicide. High risk, low frequency. Who dies fighting wildland fires? Take a look at the numbers, folks. Statistically, probability-wise, you would think that career wildland firefighters, who represent most of the people on the fire ground, would end up being the high numbers. No. It's the municipals, the seasonals, and the volunteers. Bad people? Nope. Good people. Low frequency. Low frequency. And by the way, if the United States Forest Service came to downtown Phoenix to fight a high-rise fire, would they end up getting hurt? Why? Bad people? No, good people. High risk, low frequency. Every place I go, people are bad-mouthing Seattle PD. Every place I go, people are bad-mouthing Seattle. Gordy, is Seattle PD the most screwed up police department in the whole world? No, they're pretty good. Gordy, they butchered the WTO riots. That's because their idiot mayor was not looking at riots through one of these four boxes. Riots for Seattle are right here. High risk, low frequency. That's why they got their ass kicked. High risk, low frequency. At the end of the riots, they had this little anorexic anarchist from PETA waving his little PETA flag around. Yeah, we just kicked Seattle PD's ass, and now we're coming to LA in August for the Democratic National Convention, and we're going to kick LAPD's ass too. Mwah, ha, 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 ha. Riots for LAPD are high risk, but they're also high frequency. They started a dozen in the last 2 years. They know how to do that. It's all risk and frequency. When you get involved in something like this up here, please, I want you to get this chart indelibly imprinted over your left eye, just like this. And when you're playing on the high frequency side, no worries. When you're on the low risk side, no worries. High frequency, no worries. Low risk, no worries. When your eye gets stuck up here, beep, 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 high risk, low frequency, I want the bells of St. Mary going off in your head. This is the incident that's got the highest probability of causing you grief. Why? Because your hard drive is empty, ladies and gentlemen. It's high risk, low frequency. I practice what I preach. I got off an airplane in December back in Denver. Where's my flight to Grand Junction? Sorry, Mr. Graham, all flights to Grand Junction have been canceled. Severe weather in the area. Severe weather, 0 visibility, icing conditions. We see you're a frequent flyer with United. Here's a Hertz rental car voucher. You can drive there. High risk, low frequency. What do I look stupid to you? Hello? My boy and I are buying a new boat. Mrs. Graham doesn't know that right now, so keep it secret. But our dream is to fly up to Washington State next year, go out the Strait of Juan de Fuca in our new boat, make a left-hand turn and come right down the Pacific coast. My boy is 11 years old now. He's already figured it out. Hey, Dad. Yes, son. Driving a boat down the Pacific coast, isn't that one of them high-risk, low-frequency events you speak of? Good for you, son. And it is high risk. It is high risk. Take a look at some of the places on the map, right on the coast. Point doom, point death, point you're gonna die, point 15,000 boats have sunk here already. Do you feel lucky, punk? Well, do you? Point if you got this far, you're one lucky SOB. You know, I said, very good, Jakey. That is a high-risk, low-frequency event. But there's two types of high-risk, low-frequency events. The DTs and the NDTs. Time to think it through and no time to think it through. These are the ones that scare the hell out of me, folks. Right here. What I like to call the HR, LF, NDTs. Tasks that are very risky, done very rarely, with no time to think it through. And the bad news for us in public safety in general, and you in the fire service in particular, is that we have a number of these HR, LF, NDTs. High risk, low frequency, no time to think it through. Let me give you some classic risk management, ladies and gentlemen. If you study consequences, these can be identified through a study of consequences. And once these high-risk, low-frequency, non-discretionary time tasks have been identified, they can be addressed through a serious training program. A serious training program that focuses every day on HR, LF, NDTs, where every day is a training day. What will we do if this happens? What will we do if this happens? High risk, low frequency, non-discretionary time tasks. These scare the hell out of me, folks. The good news for you is most high risk, low frequency tasks have total, absolute, 100% discretionary time. Most of the high-risk, low-frequency events that you will ever get involved in, not all, but most of them, there is time to think them through. Time to think them through. This is the most valuable information I can give you, ladies and gentlemen. You have time on a task, slow down. Slow down. Slow down. I was watching you eat the donuts out in front. I make a study of this. I watch people eating breakfast. Here is a doctor, and you know who you are because I saw your little doctor badge on. Eating a muffin. They pick it up, they look at it, and they put it back. Here's a realtor eating a muffin. They pick it up, they take a bite, they chew it 13 times. You know, here's an engineer eating a muffin. They pick it up, they look at it, they study it, and then they put it back. Here's a cop eating a muffin. Here's a firefighter. And then they pack up 14 more and take back to the station with them. Why are you in such a rush all the time? You know, there's something in your DNA that allows you to take risks that most people find unacceptable. And my hat's off to you. But that same DNA twist says everything needs to be done now. I gotta do it now! I gotta do it now! Here's a hint for you. Slow down. Put away the meth. Get into
The Recognition Prime Decision, or RPD model. It's a model that represents how decisions are made in natural environments, involving factors such as time pressure, high stakes, and imperfect information. Developed by Dr. Gary Klein, the model was initially created by studying firefighters. At the time, it was thought that even under time pressure, firefighters must be generating at least two options, comparing option A versus option B. But what was discovered is that 80% of the time, firefighters were not comparing any options. Instead, they used pattern matching. When responding to a call, they experience the situation as it changes. They use experience gained from previous calls to help identify the situation as typical, recognizing key aspects such as plausible goals and relevant cues. If what they expect to happen lines up with prior experience, this allows them to rapidly size up the situation and quickly move to take action. Still, a firefighter might lack experience, leading to aspects of the situation that are unfamiliar. Or maybe something that they expect to happen is violated, such as pouring water on a fire, but the fire grows even stronger. When atypical or unexpected, the firefighter has to reassess, to seek out more information, to gain clarity in order to be able to evaluate a course of action. And this is the second process. Recognition allows the firefighter to then evaluate a course of action, mentally simulating if it will work. This does not compare options, rather it is using prior experience to immediately recognize a workable or good enough option. If option A worked on a similar call, then option A will most likely work again. Or maybe it'll work if it is slightly modified. Only if option A will not work and cannot be modified does the firefighter move to consider a different option. In this sense, evaluation of action is a sequential rather than concurrent process. Fused together, pattern matching and evaluation of action combine to create the overall model. Together, implementation either leads back, effectively updating the situation, or it leads to resolution, the situation coming to an end. Since its initial development, the RPD model has been successfully applied in a variety of fields, including but not limited to the military, first responders, aviation, and athletics. Basically, if you work in any environment that includes things like time pressure or dynamic conditions, if you routinely deal with vague or shifting goals, then you can benefit from learning more about RPD. You can benefit by learning how the model is used to improve your performance and accelerate expertise. Understandably, the purpose of this video was only to provide a brief introduction. If you'd like to learn more, I've placed some resources down in the description. I would also recommend reading the book, Sources of Power, written by Dr. Klein. In the book, he explains the RPD model in depth and shares a number of ways to get the most out of the model.